Ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reaction, and this is what powers does the Queen of England actually have? By the channel today I found out. So yeah, Queen of England, obviously, from the Top Gear I knew that she could declare wars. I was surprised at that point, like she could just point blank say that, we are at war with France. Obviously, it's not as simple as that. I mean, technically she does have power to do that, obviously, but she's not going to do that, because if she does that, there are going to be lots of problems. Basically, Queen has a lots of power. Everybody in the in United Kingdom are the Queen's subjects, let's just say. So she does have lots of power technically. But since it's a democratic process, there's a prime minister, there's an actual government there, she can't just do things here and there. Let's just say people will have a revolution and throw her off if she does anything radical. So she technically has power, but yeah, she doesn't have really much of power. But yeah, some small things here and there she could really dictate, I'm pretty sure. I mean, she could just if she goes to some place and just say that, let's just say if she goes to a dock and sees some ship and says like that ship is mine, nobody's gonna throw her off just because she acquired a ship. So obviously that's stupid. Why would she do that? I mean, she has money, she could buy one, she could make a ship out of gold or something. She has that kind of money. Why would she do that? But like I said, it's technically she has powers. So let's see what this video says. Remember people, if you like my reaction to food, like and subscribe. Check out other reaction I did, there's a link in the description. Check out the cards or the playlists like Salmonella, SCP, Internet Historian, let me know, things like that. And yeah, let's watch this one.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching the Today I Found Our YouTube channel, and in the video today we're looking at what powers the Queen of England actually has. And just before we get started, I do want to say that this video is brought to you by TunnelBear. TunnelBear is a simple privacy app that makes it easy to enjoy a more open internet. It's available for iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac. Start your free trial today at tunnelbear.com/brainfood. So a short while ago, we put out a video about the fact that Queen Elizabeth II neither needs a passport nor a driving license, thanks to a quirk of British law. But what other powers does the Queen of many titles have, and what could she theoretically do if she decided to flex the full might of the authority that she wields? As it turns out,
so I don't understand. So, Queen doesn't require a passport, but that's inside the British colonies and British countries, right? I mean, why would some other country be like, yeah, you're a queen, so you don't require a passport? Won't they go like, you're not our queen, where's your damn passport? So, what, is there some treaty, like never ask queen for a passport or something?
Out, thanks to the royal prerogative, a terrifying amount if she really felt like it, or at least that's assuming Parliament went by the letter of the law and that the people didn't decide to stage a small revolt. Yeah. In reality, the Queen rarely exerts even a fraction of the power that she theoretically wields, as it's kept in check by the only person in the UK who can tell her what to do, and that's herself. This is very much a calculated move on her part in order to stay in the good graces of her subjects. She also voluntarily pays her taxes, even though she's not technically obligated to.
I mean, yeah, it's all about PR, isn't it? Right now, she has a business, let's just say. I mean, she generates money for her country, and she has certain amount of money that she could have. It's like a business. Her royal family right now is a business. She's rich. She's getting rich every year. They are living posh life, let's just say. Why would she fuck that up by just doing something stupid so people would revolt? I mean, in most countries there is no monarchy. I mean, most countries like Britain, advanced, countries like that, there is no monarchy. There is in the Britons, just because it's an old thing, people like it, there are tourist attractions, it's all fine. I mean, people can enjoy royal weddings, so I would say screw that up. I mean, obviously she's gonna have good PR, she's not gonna do anything stupid, and obviously she's gonna pay taxes to say, see that, I'm not wasting your money, I'm paying taxes, things like that. So yeah, she might have power, but she's not going to do anything. But let's just say she gets really old, dementia hits her, or some kind of mental impairment hits her, she just goes ballistic one day and does something stupid. I mean, obviously revolt could happen, Parliament and Prime Minister could step in, but that will require time. What if she goes ballistic for a day or two and does some damage? There is always risk of that.
And that helps with people's opinion of her. Not only does she avoid openly flexing her political might, she also tends to keep her opinions outside of the public sphere. As historian Frank Prohaska notes, the real secret of royal influence is saying nothing. And anything the Queen does say publicly is pretty anodyne. The minute a monarch or many of the royals say anything remotely political or opinionated, they alienate people and they lose some power. This silence played a large part in how the British monarchy survived post-World War I when other European royal families didn't. In fact, for nearly 2 decades now, the monarchy has regularly had polls run and focus groups put together to keep track of how the general public feels about them and their various actions. They also have on payroll individuals whose job it is to ensure the Queen stays in the public eye and in a way that is most likely to endear her to her subjects. Similar to politicians who rely on the voting public, with each public change she presents, right down to the carrying of a cell phone or not, carefully calculated in terms of the impact it might have. While this may seem only self-serving, the Queen has a very lengthy track record as an admirable public servant and is also acutely aware that she is a prominent public face representing her subjects, so is keen on avoiding being viewed in a bad light, lest she in turn paints them in a bad light by her actions. As she noted at the tender age of 21...
Yeah, I mean, that is really true, isn't it? Whenever somebody thinks of Britain or United Kingdom, first thing they think of is monarchy and the Queen. So her face is literally what represents the entire UK. So yeah.
In a speech to the Commonwealth she gave on her birthday, "I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and the service of our great imperial family, to which we all belong." Surprisingly, for many years...
Wait a second. Okay, United Kingdom is there, obviously, it's joint of countries. Is that just for the Parliament and Prime Minister, or it applies to Queen as well? Is Queen just Queen of England or Queen of entire UK? I don't know, I'm hazy. Somebody comment down. What is the case there? I'm pretty sure it's just about the Prime Minister and Parliament and government. I mean, Queen of England probably is just Queen of England. But I don't know. I mean, she might be Queen of entire UK. It's confusing there.
Here's the full extent of exactly what powers the Queen handed off to the government, but technically retained, weren't publicly known. That is, until 2003, when the government released a partial list of the things it could do on the Queen's behalf. For the most part, the list confirms that the government could do things to save the Queen time, such as issue or revoke passports, which simply wouldn't be a feasible thing to be the sole prerogative of the Crown in a modern society. However, some were actually slightly worried by some of the things
Queen be like, French denied.
she could do, like declare war, which under rules of royal prerogative can be done without consulting Parliament. On top of that, the Queen is totally immune from prosecution and is considered above the law in the UK. And further, as a head of state, she also enjoys diplomatic immunity in any foreign country she happens to visit. As such, she could commit any crime conceivable anywhere on earth, at least as the law currently stands, and suffer no legal consequences for doing so. However, as with everything else, she's generally exceptionally careful to ensure that she doesn't break any laws.
Why did they show this kind of a look at that? It's like she's doing something sneaky there. Okay, first of all, doing crime anywhere in the world, again, if it's British countries, makes sense. What if it's not British country? I guess you would have diplomatic immunity, right? I mean, there would be, some, things in the place that would ensure that law stands in the entire world, I guess. She would have diplomatic immunity everywhere. But then again, if the news comes out like Queen is just going around wearing black and shooting people with the pistol or something everywhere, I mean, yeah, there would be revolt. So I'm not so sure how, this is all just technical powers, I guess.
That she doesn't break any laws. Of course, what she does in private is completely her own affair, despite her prominent political position, as she is exempt from freedom of information requests. So, moving on, because technically speaking the people of Britain are not citizens but subjects of the monarch, she could have anyone she wanted arrested and presumably seize their property or land for the Crown. Speaking of which, the Queen owns all of the seabeds around the UK and can commandeer any ship found in British waters for service to the realm. Oddly enough, she also has first dibs on any whales that wash up on shore. The Queen could also administer any manner of punishment.
This ship thing is not so bad. I mean, obviously, I don't know how it's in the USA. Obviously, USA president have lots of power. Is there a prime minister in US? I'm pretty sure there isn't, right? Is there a prime minister? I don't know. But, countries that took, democracy and how democracy works from Britain, like India and everywhere. Obviously, India doesn't have a monarch, so India has a president. So president has kind of the same power too in that sense. Like, if president realizes that there is a threat to the defense of the country, he could just claim ships from the shores, basically declare martial laws and things like that. So that is kind of similar. So queen has kind of president-like power in that sense, and that kind of makes sense. But yeah, she could have anybody arrested or seized properties. I mean, like I said, if she goes ballistic one day, if she gets really old, all of these things happens. Obviously, people would stop her, but it would take few days. And until those days, she could go ballistic and, wreak havoc, I guess. I mean, obviously, that's stupid, but still, it's funny to think that, that's technically possible.
Punishment to an individual who offended or otherwise displeased her, as the crown has prerogative power to keep the peace within the realm. And since she's immune from prosecution, nobody could really do anything if this punishment wasn't entirely within the scope of the law. If the government tried to stop her, the Queen could decimate the British political landscape by dissolving Parliament and appointing anyone she felt like as Prime Minister. This is because it's the Queen's duty to appoint the Prime Minister, and she could, in theory, appoint anyone she wanted to the position, regardless of the way the British public voted in an election. On top of that, in the event...
every time somebody's new prime minister comes, she, invites them to her home or something and says something to him. There's a ceremony like that. So Boris Johnson became, prime minister, and Queen as a ceremony said something to him, and Boris Johnson just, told everybody what she said to him, and that's supposed to be a no-no. Like, you can't tell people what Queen told you. So that was on the news constantly. Like, that was damn funny.
Queen didn't like the outcome of an election. For instance, if she didn't like the replacement parliament members that were voted in, she could just call for another one using royal prerogative until she got the parliament she wanted. Not that she'd need to, because if she really wanted, she'd just bring in the army to keep everyone in line. But how does that work? How does she control the army? Well, that's because the Queen is also the commander-in-chief of the entire British military, with every officer, soldier, sailor, and pilot swearing allegiance to the crown and nobody else. They're not called...
Hold up there. Isn't that a bit scary? I mean, we all think that, people could just revolt. Prime Minister and Parliament could step in. All is fine, but the entire military is under her. And obviously, that's not how things are going to work. Military generals are not just going to follow her command. But what if that does? I mean, what's a revolt going to do if you have modern military power behind you? Obviously, she can't just suppress everybody. She can't just suppress revolt. She might have to kill lots of people, and that's not going to sit well. So obviously, none of this is possible, and why would she do it? But yes, like I said, theoretically, if she goes ballistic by the end of her life, she's really old, and something snaps in her head, all these things could take place. That would be out of hand, I guess. That's a bit too much power, I think. But then again, like I said, like in India, president has that power too. I mean, military falls under president. He could declare martial law. So in that way, that's same.
Called Her Majesty's Armed Forces for nothing. Being considered the ultimate authority on all British military matters, the Queen could authorize a nuclear strike on France or make North Korea an ally, as she has the power to declare both war and peace with foreign nations. As for laws, well, technically the Queen can't create new laws. She can only sign them into law after they've been decided upon by Parliament. In fact, her royal assent is required to make the law official after being passed by Parliament in the first place. She could appoint ministers who'd make any laws she wanted a reality and then just sign them into law that way. Beyond royal assent, there's also the Queen's consent, which requires she give her consent before any law that affects the interests of the monarchy can even be discussed at all in Parliament. She actually has used this power before, such as in 1999 when she refused to allow the discussion of a bill that would have given Parliament power to authorize military strikes in Iraq instead of needing her authorization.
Nice.
So, well, that's all on the political side. But
that's actually nice. She did something good there. I mean, Parliament was basically, we don't need your authorization, just sign the bill so we can just attack Iraq and Middle East whenever we pleases. Queen like, no, you need to ask me first. I mean, obviously, as things escalated so much in Middle East, lots of unnecessary, I mean, obviously some of them were important, but lots of unnecessary fighting that just, anger lots of people, and let's just say there are lots of other powers in the Middle East that are threatening the world. So at that time like that, British Queen going like, no, you need to ask me first. If it's ridiculous, I'm not going to sign it. So that's good.
Doesn't stop here. The Queen technically has a sort of power not only over her subjects' physical beings, but also their souls. Well, how? Well, that's because she's also the head of the Church of England, including having the power to appoint archbishops and power over many other such matters concerning the Church. As for most of these powers that technically allow her to rule with an iron fist, as previously mentioned, the Queen is hesitant to ever use them in such a way that would displease her subjects, and certainly isn't about to disregard their representatives in Parliament. However, these powers still exist for a variety of reasons, including potentially being needed in times of extreme crisis. That said, just because she isn't in the practice of exercising her powers against the will of the people, it doesn't mean she isn't occasionally an active political powerhouse in private. Extremely well respected and known worldwide with the ability to bend the ear of most heads of state, the influence the Queen wields is difficult to quantify, but, as noted in an article discussing why the BBC named the Queen the most powerful woman in the world in their list of 100 most powerful women, Her Majesty's power is more about influence. A discreet nod of the head, a polite word in the ear of a Prime Minister at their weekly meeting, or a strategic patronage of a cause being overlooked by the government is how she can indirectly affect our world without us even knowing. Well, to conclude, the Queen has many powers she could theoretically legally use to
This reminds me of that instance where Donald Trump is supposedly gonna meet Queen, and she was just waiting there seeing the what, like where the hell is he? That was so funny thing, like, man, I'm the Queen, I have power, you gonna make me wait?
her own ends unless her subjects and Parliament simply decided to stage a revolution. However, she generally avoids doing anything overt that might upset her subjects and otherwise simply works in the background, more or less in an advisory role when she feels there is a need. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. Now, if you are interested in protecting your privacy online, well, then you really should have a VPN. Now,
yeah, people, go to tunnelbite.com/brainfood. Brain food, and support the channel. This is good informative channel, no shit. It's a 2.5 million subscribers, so obviously they must be doing something right. So yeah, this was a good video. Obviously, this video revealed that the Queen has more power than I thought, but then again, this is all technical. I mean, she's not going to do anything about it. Obviously, if she does, there's going to be revolt and lots of things. But like I said, I mean, this is a stupid thing. Obviously, people are going to get pissed off in the comments like, yeah, I mean, this doesn't work, she's not going to do this, she's not going to go ballistic. Obviously this is stupid, but still, theoretically, if she goes crazy by the end and does things, it might take a day or two for people to do something about it. And until then, military and everybody's gonna follow her command. So it might be, I mean, she could create political crisis somewhere by just declaring war and attacking someplace. I mean, yeah, obviously Parliament and things like that, people could get involved, but it might take time since she has direct line of power there. So yeah, that was Queen of England. How much power does she have? Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out what the reaction I did. There's a link in the description. Check out the cards. Yeah, I'll see you next time.